Hi, and welcome to Think Tank Thursday. I'm Denise Killian with Train Entertainment, and we're thrilled to have you with us today. Before we get started and I introduce you to our guests, we want to thank our sponsors who make all of this possible. Our 2023 sponsors are Siminox, Redemption Plus, Roller, Betson, and Delta Strike. We appreciate their support, which helps us bring you a new episode every single week. And boy, do we have a good one for you today. Here at Train Entertainment, we always encourage you to take a break from the doing and spend just a little bit of time with us on Thursdays to do some thinking about your business and where it's headed. So today we're bringing you Greg Spittle. He's the Vice President of Strategy for Roller, and boy, does he have a story to tell. How does one start in chemical engineering and wind up in the family entertainment space? Well, let's find out. Let's meet Greg. Hey, Greg, thanks so much for joining us for Think Tank. Let's start off with a tough question. Tell us about yourself and how you got involved in Roller.
Absolutely. I'm Greg Spittle. I'm the Vice President of Strategy at Roller. Prior to that, I was the CEO of the Activate brand. And that's a company I started and ran up until we sold it to Roller a little over a year ago. So that was my entry into the world of family entertainment was through Activate. But I have a background in chemical engineering and all sorts of other things. So kind of a broad range of different things I've done in my career.
So chemical engineering, family entertainment seems like a natural
transition, right? Yeah, you'd expect that.
Yeah. How did that come about? How did you get involved from chemical engineering?
Yeah.
Heavily involved into tech and entrepreneurship, and now family entertainment centers.
Yeah, that's kind of a big leap, right? So I did my MBA at SMU, and one of my buddies from my MBA, he was in my group in my MBA, decided afterwards to start a trampoline park, and he was killing it, doing really well, and thought we should do something together, and we started down that path, and then realized that's not what either of us really wanted to do, but I'd been involved in kind of a tech venture as well. Not Activate. And then things kind of came back together with my business partner and ended up deciding that there's this need for a better point of sale software. And we created Activate. And so it was just kind of this roundabout way that I found myself in the family entertainment industry. So, and now that's been my life for the last almost decade. I think I've spent more time in a trampoline park than most trampoline park owners have. So yeah, I definitely understand the industry well. I mean, I understand that part of the industry. I've been in a lot of other, as we got involved, that was kind of our foray was into trampoline parks. And then we branched out pretty quickly into other tangential industries. And so I'm very, very familiar with family play centers and broader FECs and things like that. Like I said, I've been spending a lot of time in them the last 10 years or so.
So technology makes sense as being a part of the family entertainment industry. Point of sale systems, I can't tell you how many of our clients that is sort of their biggest bane of existence, especially when they have multiple attractions, right? You've got bowling, that's one thing, and a restaurant, that's another, and maybe bumper cars and this and that, and trying to get it all together is kind of one of the biggest frustrations, I think, for a lot of family entertainment centers. And just in your almost 10 years in the industry, how much has tech changed the game?
Well, I think the industry as a whole has changed quite a bit in those 10 years. Just the introduction of a more sophisticated concept around, I'll call it, some of the bigger companies getting together, less mom and pop and more kind of big company, private equity type mentality of like, hey, we're taking this industry from something that's a fun idea into, this is a legitimate business that you've got to compete. Just the quantity of family entertainment centers that exist today relative to 10 years ago has gone through the roof. And so it's forced people to compete more for the business that they have. And because of that, you have to start making advances in how you do things. things that may have worked 10 years ago to just do something paper and pencil just doesn't work anymore. You have to keep reinventing yourself over and over again, and coming up with new ways to do what you thought you'd already solved. And that's just part of competition. It's part of making, part of growing and making the industry better. It just makes us all work harder and find new innovative ways to do things.
As an entrepreneur, because you've done that part too, how much does that drive and inform what you're doing with Roller?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, the role that I now find myself in as vice president of strategy is really, helping to try and identify and focus on areas where we can innovate and do better things. I mean, we've got a whole tech team behind it, so I'm not trying to say I do what they do. I don't. But looking for opportunities in the market and bringing those back to the team to say, hey, there's an opportunity here. If we did this thing a little differently, we could really change the game for some of the market players and help them improve their business. And that's really one of the things that we focus on. I almost hate calling ourselves a point of sale because that kind of minimizes what we do. When I think of a point of sale, it's like, oh, I'm just there to, take a payment at the front of the store. But in reality, our technology touches the entire breadth of what an operator does. And so we're always looking for ways to help that operator improve their operations and increase revenue. And that's really, we're looking for value drivers, things that we can turn the dial for an operator so that they can improve their business and make more money at it.
Is that what led you to Roller from your previous company with that acquisition? Can you walk through that?
Yeah. So, what we found with the acquisition or with the combination of Roller and Activate is, I think both independently, if we step back and looked at how we viewed the market, even though we were considered the up and comers, we're both web-based point of sale or web-based technology, which for the industry was relatively new. A lot of the incumbent players have on-site, on-prem servers. I'll call it kind of database architecture from the early 2000s, and we came along with architecture from a more modern era, and we're delivering that to the parks. And as such, we were kind of the newcomers in the market, but we also considered ourselves the leaders in the market, that we were the ones delivering the cool new ideas and functionality. And we felt like together we could do better than we could separately, that we could deliver better value to our customers as a combined entity than if we were out there, just kind of both doing the same thing, competing with each other. We could actually come together with the ideas we had and actually do better together. And so that was the concept behind it.
Okay. So how this industry is nothing if not sporadic, crazy, dynamic, complex, and ever changing, right? Which is what makes it fun, which is what makes it exciting. But, how do you keep your eye on the prize, on that solution-oriented mindset, dealing with the more complex issues that are facing FECs today?
Yeah. So I'll answer that in kind of two different ways. One, whenever you find yourself in a situation where things are getting tough, or I'll just go back to, I hate saying it, but COVID. Go back to COVID. I mean, that was a really tough time for the industry. It was a tough time for, my company at the time. We made the decision that, if our customers weren't open, we weren't charging them anything. So when all of our customers shut down, we went to zero. Like it was a scary time, right? But I had a CEO back in the day that one of his mantras was control the controllables. Control the things you have control of. Don't worry about the rest. Let it go. And that idea of, I can't sit here and fret about all the things I can't control. I can only worry about the things I can. And so let me focus on what I can focus on and just keep going. And let the rest of it just kind of fall to the side. It doesn't matter. And in reality, anytime you find yourself in a tough situation, if you focus on that, like I can take the next step. I can take that next thing. I can see what's right in front of me. I don't need to worry about the storm that's coming. I don't need to worry about what everything else that's going on. Let me just take that next step I know I have to take and keep moving forward, because that's what I can control. I can't control the rest of it. So that's the first part of it.
that is one of the best lessons in life too, right? And the hardest things to figure out.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, no matter what part of life you're in, I actually think the whole taking the next step. I can't remember which book I was reading, but it was a it was a Navy SEAL was talking about what makes a good Navy SEAL, and it's this concept of like when you go through training, you cannot mentally they're trying to break you, and you have to get to the point where you forget about what's happening tomorrow, and you just focus on I can take one more step. I can take that next step. I don't know if I can take 10 more. I know I can take one more and just keep doing the next one, just the next one. And so when things get really tough, that's kind of the lesson I put in my head of like, I'll take the next step and we'll figure it out. And so that idea, especially during COVID, I think for me, that's what got us through was, I don't know when this is going to end. I don't know how, can I make it? If I told myself this is going to last over a year, like at the beginning, would I have had the mental fortitude to hold on? I don't know. But at the beginning, it was just like, you know what? Take it day by day. We'll see what happens. And we'll just keep doing what we can do. And we came out of COVID stronger than we'd ever been. We came out as a company and we were it's the best. The year or two after COVID were probably the best year or two we ever had in the history of our company. And so for us, it was phenomenal to kind of come out of this low point into a high point. And so, yeah, it was a great lesson to learn, going through it. It's not fun to go through it, but it's a great lesson to learn having been through it. So
now that was a horrible time for all of us, right?
Yeah, it was.
For individuals, for all businesses, and certainly for the family entertainment industry. And I think that, something that struck me is when you're talking about we came out stronger on the other side,
yeah,
than you were before. I was reading somewhere that some of the most incredible inventions and new ideas have been born in sort of the darkest times, like gravity. Isaac Newton discovered gravity during a plague. That when you're kind of forced to lock it down, that can sometimes spur inspiration. So what was kind of, if you can, I know this is a little bit of a left ball question, but what, if you can tell us, was the one biggest, greatest breakthrough or takeaway that you feel as a company you guys made during COVID?
Oh my goodness. The biggest breakthrough we made during COVID. There's some ideas we had before COVID that we refined during COVID. As far as ideas during COVID, I'd say probably just, coming out of it, the idea was just focus. That we had kind of spread ourselves thin and had gone after kind of a lot of different ideas. And that coming out of it was just like, you know what, we got to stay focused on what we do well and what we do best. And that helped us to, I think, be stronger coming out of it rather than, going into it feeling like we'd been a little bit, spread out. And so for me, that was probably the biggest takeaway from COVID itself. And then obviously the ability to refine some of the ideas that we had pre-COVID, all the downtime we had allowed us that time to step back and really analyze and think, and improve the ideas we had going into it. And so I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, but there's a side project that we actually got kicked off during COVID that is launching next year. So it's one of the things we refined during COVID. So it's an exciting thing that I like to think about. So
that's very exciting. All right, so we'll wait.
Go check out my. You can look at me on LinkedIn. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's right up there with rollers. So
awesome. All right. That's what
we'll drop a little
hint there, but that's what we call a tease. Leave them one more. I love it. So what do you think now, kind of post-COVID? We've hopefully all gotten through, and we're not done with it yet, but hopefully the big lockdowns and all of those things are far behind us. What do you think are the biggest challenges facing this industry right now, and how can businesses overcome them?
Yeah. So from my perspective, the biggest challenge is this move into technology. A lot of companies just haven't made that move. They're getting left behind. A lot of the mom and pops, I feel bad for them because I'm a small business owner. I was a small business owner. And you've got a lot to do. it's not easy being a small business owner. You've got, and whether you're, a small business owner or a GM of a park that is owned by a bigger corporation, you have a lot on your plate. And the idea of thinking about, oh, I've got to take on this change and kind of move into the future of what we should be doing, and not doing what I did 5 or 6 years ago or 7 or 8 years ago, that I actually need to step forward and do more, and rely on systems more, when maybe I don't really trust them all the way. I trust what I do. And it's that's mentality change. It's a process change. It's getting your people that work for you to change. All those things are hard to do. And I mean, even being a tech guy, I hate having to go learn a new software. I hate having to go learn new technology, because it takes time and you're busy. And so it's not that you can't do it. It's time constraining. And so that, in my opinion, is finding the time, finding the wherewithal to go and learn those new things that people are doing, and implement them into your business to really continue to compete. Because I feel like today there's a kind of a bounce we got out of COVID, especially for a lot of the parks, that for the ones that failed, it left behind more market. But now there's competition coming back in, and you've got to double down and take that opportunity to compete with people who are coming in, and make sure that you really, drive your business into the future.
Yeah. And that change component, I mean, that's something that we all struggle with, right?
Yeah.
Change is scary. It's the unknown.
Yeah. And it's hard.
Yeah.
It's not like, if you decide tomorrow you want to start working out, and the first time you go do it, you're going to be really sore, and it's like, oh, I didn't like that much. But eventually it becomes part of who you are, and you do it, and you feel good when you do it. But that's kind of part of it. Is it's scary, it's tough, but you need to do it. And as a business owner, it's up to you to do that. Like, you can't rely on someone else to come and change it for you. You've got to be the one to go drive that change. And again, I'll say, not trying to plug the company too much, but from a roller perspective, we try to help our customers to do that. We try to help them bridge that gap and make that change, and give them ideas and information to help them thrive, because their success is our success. We succeed when they succeed. So that's our goal.
That's great. That's great. So what advice, I guess, then, and it brings along with what you're talking about right now, what advice do you have for someone who thinks now's the time? I've always wanted to open that trampoline park, or that bowling center, or rock climbing place. What's your advice to people getting into the industry right now?
Absolutely. So anytime you're starting any business, find the market need. So obviously there's things you want to do. Don't get me wrong, and you should always follow your passion of what you want to do. But make sure you find the market need. And whether that is coming up with a new idea that, understanding and going after what the market needs at the time, or a market need where there's a market that doesn't have a climbing gym, or doesn't have a trampoline park, or maybe has a much older version of a trampoline park that they're not redoing, that you can come in and say, I'm going to come in and put a different type of FEC nearby, but it's going to offer a different range of activities. Or I've been to all of the places nearby me, and they do such a terrible job with birthday parties. I'm going to come in, I'm going to be the best birthday party for 10 miles around. All those things are valuable things to do, but make sure you have kind of that North Star of what you're going after. What am I trying to deliver to the market? Am I just trying to be the same thing as that guy? Because you're probably not going to win. He's already established as the incumbent. You're not going to win in that fight. So what are you coming in with? What are you coming in and doing differently? What are you coming in and doing better? And whether that's a new idea, new concept, or it's something you're going to be the best at, and you have ideas for how you're going to be the best at that, and you're going to put those into play. That's what I would focus on. And then find good people to partner with. And when I say partner, I hate talking about suppliers as suppliers, because that thing's, I'm just buying something from you. But if you find a good supplier, they become a partner. And whether that's someone who's going to come in and help you build your facility and give you information about how to build that facility, or why you would add certain attractions or other attractions you wouldn't. Some people, when you go to talk to them about buying, they just want to sell you what they have. And that's a supplier. But if you go to talk to somebody and they're like, you know what? I wouldn't buy what I'm selling. That's that is a partner. If they're willing to tell you not to buy what they sell, that's a partner. And again, hopefully they have what you're looking for, that they think that's the right thing to sell you. But I've definitely been involved with companies that's how they operate, that they're not just trying to sell you more of what they have. They're trying to actually help you succeed. And if they can provide you what you need while you do that, that's who you want to be working with.
And I love the advice too of pick one thing to start with, right? So make sure that you are unique, make sure that you are doing something different. Or if it's the same kind of attractions, that you're finding something that you excel at better than anybody else in town. So the birthday parties, the corporate events, the whatever that might be, find it, double down, and make that your center point, right?
Yeah. I mean, just from a lot of times people think about the attractions, and the attractions are super important of what you offer for your market space and who you're going after. If you have very adult attractions, you don't want to be marketing to 3 and 4 year olds, or if you have very young attractions, you don't want to be marketing to 16, 17 year olds. That you've got to understand, what am I selling and who am I marketing to? But then at the same point, like how you do it and what you do is usually just as important, if not more important, than what you offer.
So, okay, what are you working on right now that you're super excited
about? We're working on a lot of things right now at Roller that we're super excited about. We're looking to try to do more than I'll say anybody's ever done before with the point of sale. And the reason I do point of sale in quotes is because it's more than the point of sale. It's doing so much more for the business and trying to become a place where we can be the primary hub and focus of everything you do. So instead of having 10 different systems doing 10 different things all independently of each other, trying to become that source of integration for everything that's going on. We've taken big steps in doing that already. Things like integrating our system to email marketing tools, so that when you go to do the email marketing, the information that somebody signed on a waiver that's now in our system, we can hand off directly to email marketing and even segment that so that I can create specific drip campaigns around kids between the ages of 5 and 15, because that's my target. And I can start doing drip campaigns right before their birthday, a month in advance or 2 months in advance, so that we can hit the parents up with that and have all that information flow automatically, and I don't have to worry about it. I can just kind of set it and forget it. Things like that, where we can really take the load off of the operator in what they're trying to accomplish with their marketing plans. Our integrations to Google Analytics. There's G4 just came out, the newest iteration of Google Analytics, and making sure that that's tied in directly to what we do, so you can get that feedback into your business. Right now we're focused on things like improving what we do for food and beverage management, and letting people order, from their seats and a QR code instead of having to come up to the front. Again, trying to help eliminate the need for as many employees, because they can self-serve and order that way. There's just, we're releasing a business intelligence tool, so you have better visualization of your data and what's going on, so you can make better informed decisions. And so there's so many different projects we're working on to just make life easier for our customers. That that's, for me, that's what, having been a small business owner, that's what makes me excited, is helping other small business owners do better and have a better experience, and offload some of these things that used to be heavy lifts, to make it easier for them.
Do you think that there'll ever be a time when tech fully replaces people, employees?
No. That's gonna be one of those great internet, this guy, 30 years from now, like, what was I thinking? But no, I really don't. And the reason why is because, when I know personally, when I go somewhere, I go because of the experience I have, and the experience comes from people. It doesn't come, there's a part of it that comes from tech. So my first interaction with the brand is typically online. If your website is absolutely atrocious, that's my first experience with you, and I'm starting off bad. If I'm trying to buy a ticket, well, guess what? And 9 times out of 10, if I go somewhere, I'm buying the ticket online before I go, because I don't want to show up and wait in line. I want to skip the lines. I am the least patient person out there. So, I'm buying online, showing up ready to go in. And if I can't do that, I'm gonna get frustrated. I might still come, but I'm coming and I'm already starting off frustrated, and you have to win me over from there, which isn't a good spot to start. Or if I tried to buy it and it just didn't work, I might even just, I'm going somewhere else. And so that idea of starting online, yes, tech is an important part of it, but when I get there, am I being greeted? Like, I think of the Chick-fil-A example. Am I being greeted with a smile? Am I like, are they treating me with respect? Like, those are things that even though you're not thinking about it consciously, it hits subconsciously. And it's the same thing with our customers. Like, if we don't treat them the right way, there's no matter how good our product is, it's, we're not treating them the way they want to be treated. And so tech can't replace that part of the service experience.
But it can allow those employees to focus on the customer more and providing that experience for the customer than dealing with all of the other back end stuff.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we want to do, is we want to free up the employees' time so that they can focus on how do I provide a better experience to the customer. If as a, I think like a birthday party host, where does a birthday party host really shine? And again, if I'm delivering a birthday party in a family entertainment center as the birthday party host, I'm taking workload off of mom or dad, and I'm providing an experience for mom or dad. They're like, oh my gosh, I want to go back there every single time, because I literally got to sit back and do nothing while they took care of everything. And I look like a hero mom or dad while they do it. And if I can deliver that, where they're not worried about what the system's doing or what other people are, and they're just focused on how do I deliver this experience to mom or dad, you're going to get, your business will fly. It'll succeed. If I'm worried about all the little things and, let me go print off this paper thing that I have to hand to them because there's too much other stuff going on. I've got to simplify the experience for my staff so that they can make a better experience for my guests. And so how do I do that? How do I use tech to do that? The right answer isn't always making everything automated. Sometimes that's not the right answer. And so how do I go and find, 3 things? Let me go look at my business. There's another, I've probably said this a couple of times today, but I had another CEO that it was the rule of 3. Just people think in threes. What are the 3 things I can go do? I can focus on that. More than that, I get too many. Fewer than that, it feels like I'm not doing enough. So go with 3 and use the rule of 3. Go find 3 things that you can simplify in your business. And if you can use tech to simplify that, perfect. If you can't, find a way to simplify it, not using tech, but go find 3 things to do to simplify your business for your staff members so they can make a better experience for your customers.
That's great. That's great. All right. So here at Think Tank, we have signature questions.
Uh-oh.
It's time for that round now. You ready, Greg?
All right.
What do you do on a consistent basis to grow yourself?
I like to read. I like to listen to podcasts when I'm in the car or when I'm traveling. And I like to push myself to do things that I'm not always comfortable with. Like push outside of my own typical boundaries. So I'm afraid of heights, and yet I'll go, hiking, and I actually have an experience where I jumped out on a rock that was like hanging over a 1,000-foot ledge, and it scared the crap out of me. But it makes me kind of get outside of like my unwillingness to do things. And so I like to push myself a little bit on boundaries of what I'm capable of doing.
That's great. That's great. All right. So finally, Greg, how can people find you and Roller?
Yeah. So Roller, best way is our website. Go to roller.software or rollersoftware.com. Either one will get you there. You can learn all about us. We've got lots of blogs and other things, examples of what we've done for other customers, and learn all about us. And then me personally, best place is LinkedIn. You can find me on there, connect with me. I'm happy to chat and share experiences and learn from each other. So
awesome. Well,
pretty
Greg,
unique
thanks so
name.
much
So
for
just
your
Greg Spittle, you'll find me. So
it is it's a good original name. I like that.
Right.
I like that.
Right.
Well, Greg, thanks for taking the time to be with us today. You've offered us a lot to think about, which is the point of that Think Tank Thursday. So thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your thoughts. And we will talk with you soon. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. I sure do appreciate Greg and everything that he had to offer. I'm taking away the one thing. Don't stress about the things that you can't control. Worry about the thing that you can control. that one thing and make it excellent. Put all of your energy and mind and thought behind that. I think that's a really good takeaway for our very complex world. And then, of course, don't be afraid of new things. New things can be wonderful, even though they can be a little bit scary as well. So thanks, Greg. Appreciate you and your time, and the folks at Roller for letting you be a part of Think Tank Thursday. We also want to thank our sponsors who make this possible every single week. And if you'd like to be a part of Think Tank Thursday, let us know. If you have a good idea for a Think Tank topic or a special guest for Think Tank Thursday, be sure to let us know. You can reach out to us at candy@trainertainment.net. And we want to make sure that you're connected to us at Trainertainment and all that we do. Our events, where we'll be and what we'll be doing is also on our website, and that's at trainertainment.net. Appreciate you guys reaching out to us and being a part of this. We'll see you again soon.